Vigilance Awareness Training.
This is not about gotcha.
Changing the way a lifeguard sees from the bottom of the water up.
What we found is that they look, but they do not always see.
And creating a bias for action.
If I don't know, I need to go. When you're interviewing a lifeguard and talking to them about what their responsibilities are, it's tough to describe a three-dimensional box, which a pool is.
2, 1, go!
Raising awareness begins with the introduction of submerged mannequins and silhouettes during a lifeguard's initial training.
Did everyone see the far one? Yeah.
The simple introduction of that mannequin or silhouette onto the bottom of the pool gets across the picture of a lifeguard's complete duties.
Establishing 10/20 scanning as a three-dimensional challenge.
So that they can start to understand that their field of vision and the way they view that water needs to change. They can't simply be looking on a plane. They need to be looking down to be able to change their eye vision to be able to see in and through the surface of the water through to the bottom.
As you can see, when we start to move some water across the surface, we no longer can see that mannequin for what it is.
Surface disturbance is just one of many factors which may prevent a lifeguard from recognizing a struggling swimmer at the bottom of a pool.
We have glare, reflection, refraction.
Occlusions are conditions which make it tough to see past the surface of the water. Environmental occlusions change with the movement of the sun. And every swimming zone has its own set of physical obstructions, including pool configuration, structures, and theming.
Not to mention lane markers on the bottom, grates on the bottom, inlet caps on the bottom.
Crank up the turbulence, throw in a couple hundred guests, and suddenly 10/20 scanning can be extremely difficult.
The reality is that a mannequin on the bottom with surface disturbance and with people in the way and all of the other occlusions, environmental and physical, may not allow for it to be seen for anything more than a shadow.
That's why Phase 2 of the VAT is conducted during in-service training in a lifeguard's actual zone of protection. Mannequins and silhouettes are placed throughout the pool.
To start to get them to understand that when I scan that water, I know I have a lap lane here and I have a grate here, but there shouldn't be anything in the middle except for a white bottom.
By knowing what the bottom of their zone should look like, a lifeguard becomes conditioned to recognize what is not normal.
As bodies start to move in and around the object or the person, that will also detract from our ability to see it for what it really is. This may begin to look like a towel, may begin to look like a pile of leaves or a pile of sand or something else. But the key is that it's not normal. It's something that's not supposed to be there. And if that's the situation, if you don't know, go.
And that's the driving principle of vigilance awareness training.
If you're not sure what it is, it's something that may not be normal, go get it.
We're going to take the silhouettes and the mannequins and we're going to place them in the extremes of their zone of protection. So we're going to place a mannequin on the far right extreme, the far left extreme, the near right extreme, and the near left extreme.
In Phase 3, we validate that each zone of protection is properly designed to meet the 10/20 protection rule, confirming there are no physical or environmental occlusions. Before the season begins, silhouettes and mannequins are placed at the extremes of a swimming zone.
Take a look over to your right corner, and when you can see that silhouette, I'd like you to point at it and confirm that you can see it.
I can see it's right underneath by the lifeguard chair.
Now take a look over to your extreme left of your zone. Far left.
I can see one right by the ladder.
Very good.
Once the extremes have been validated,
Excellent. Henry, let's take it over to the opposite side.
the mannequins are placed throughout the middle of the zone. Since environmental factors change with the movement of the sun, Phase 3 should be repeated throughout both the day and the season.
I can see his arm. You can see his arm. So there is therefore a portion of that zone that you can't see on the bottom, correct?
If complete validation can't be achieved, we can either reconfigure the zone.
How about if we have you get down from the chair and take a position on the pool deck?
or reposition the lifeguard to eliminate the occlusion. The bottom line, a pool should not open until each zone of protection has been validated for compliance with the 1020 standard of care.
We look to increase their vigilance in hunting that water and test their ability to see that they are completely scanning their zone of protection from top to bottom.
Operational mannequin drops require a 3-person team: the mannequin spotter, a timer, and a replacement lifeguard.
We want them to understand that first and foremost, this is not about gotcha. This is not about tricking the lifeguard. This is not about making it difficult for the lifeguard. It is purely about education, awareness, and increased vigilance.
The spotter secretly places a silhouette or mannequin at the bottom of the pool, avoiding detection by hiding it in a towel, inside a swimsuit, or behind an inflatable. The spotter then remains within arm's reach for the duration of the drill,
so that guests in and around the area can be informed of what's going on during that period of time.
Once in place, the drill begins.
And we evaluate from a time standpoint how long it takes the lifeguard to identify, recognize, and react, which is key. We do not want the lifeguard to simply point, because worst case could be is that it's not a drill.
As the lifeguard enters the water, the replacement guard takes over responsibility for the zone of protection. To meet expectations, a lifeguard must spot the mannequin within 30 seconds.
And there are going to be times when our lifeguards are not going to perform to our expectations. The most important thing here is, though, is that we've identified a risk exposure, and that lifeguard should then go through a remediation process.
Either in-service training or shadow guarding to improve their scanning skills.
Key then is to get that lifeguard then back on the stand, and within a certain period of time, re-drill them to see that the remediation has been effective.
As operational mannequin drops are conducted throughout the season, we need to communicate with guests about this ongoing process.
Even placing the mannequin at the front gate with a sign around them that says, "Hey, my name is Timmy and I may be on the bottom of the pool today. Please do not be alarmed. I'm here to help our lifeguards in maintaining optimum vigilance."
In just 2 years, client pools using the VAT have seen average detection times drop from 74 seconds to just 24.7 seconds.
We have many clients that tell us that upwards of 90+% of the mannequin drops that they do during their season were less than 10 seconds.
Empowering lifeguards not only to look, but also to see.
It's about realizing that when people put the reasonable resources in place to reach a goal, it is attainable.